So thank you for joining us, Filippo. We really appreciate you having the opportunity to come in and speak to our students and taking the time out your busy schedule. As we living in a cyber world right now, I know this has to be a lot of work for you currently. So thank you for taking the time to be able to talk with us and talk to our students about our cybersecurity program here at DePaul University. So the first question I would ask you is how did you get started in cybersecurity and kind of what was that process like?
So thank you for inviting me. It will become obvious during the interview that I have a strong Slavic accent, and people with Slavic accents do cybersecurity, as you all know. So in many forms, fashion, and for many reasons. I think that's kind of clear and obvious. So where I come from originally is assumption of technology as delivered is good, but is expected that everyone should try to find a way to use it as they think serves their purpose. So if like the surroundings where I was growing up, everyone was trying to excel on trying to find a way and learn as much as possible technologies and computers, even though they were expensive. It was interesting for us to do it, you know. And the good thing was that when I was growing up, my parents didn't have much understanding what computers are, so they couldn't oversee what we were doing. So that left a lot of time on our hands to learn and do stuff that we pleased. I remember as we started very early years, we had a 28.8 kilobit per second US robotics connection. When, you know, and me and my brother, everyone was just trying to browse the internet at night. And if someone picks up the phone, then our connection will break down. So we had to find a way how to do it for our connection to stay up and for our parents not to figure it out that we are constantly on the internet overnight. So it started like that, and then it continued in high school, continued in college, and then I came to the States to do a PhD in cybersecurity after many years, and then I'm here. So I stayed pretty much here. It's mostly self-driven process. Okay, it's you give yourself a challenge, and then you go for it. I never thought that first there will be never shortages of challenges to see and to play with, and I never thought that challenges should be easy and rewarding. Like the more complex it is, the more interesting it became. The more longer time it needed, the more suspense built into it, the more investment into achieving it, the better feedback of satisfaction when you do it. So it's what I'm trying to say is that our field is not easy precisely because it doesn't have goals set in stone, but it compensates with the fact that you can be your own master and you can do whatever you want as much as you want. So it's, even if you work in a company, no one stops you to make and learn new stuff. Like the field evolves as fast as you can catch with it. So it really makes a good case for everyone who wants to be their own, to do their stuff on their own. It really makes the sense to take it and do it. You can always resort to doing any other computer science stuff or engineering stuff, but here it's more so like a very, very game-like environment, and not like simple games, but more so like a complex strategic games, which is interesting and thrilling.
So Filippo, how would you define cybersecurity and what the field is now from your perspective as a professional in the field and also an instructor?
So there's a big debate in a field like this. One camp says that it's a purely technical problem of what we do, and they don't understand how even programs like ours exist. You know, we technically should fall under computer science or under engineering. So the other camp of scholars think that cybersecurity is a social problem more so than is anything else. So for you to be able to exploit a computer, you have to have a design, you have to have someone to design it in a way that it's not perfect, or if it allows to be exploited. Okay, and mostly humans are involved with computers, and imperfections will arise left and right. So I've for the years I have belonged in both camps, and I certainly think the large component of the field is a very social component on human behavior. So that's why I teach human behavior classes related to security in our program, and I also develop content and curriculum for everywhere in the United States on those topics, because certainly it's important to know technology. It's very important to have an absolute knowledge understanding of it, but the technology itself doesn't exist in a vacuum. And the more interdisciplinary understanding builds around how technology is used, the better understanding of security there is. Ultimately, the programs should yield understanding of how humans actually evolve with computers, and that's a big thing to know. I mean, who knows that? They have the key to another universe, and that's hard to achieve, right? But up until then, is certainly currently right now it's a problem that quite a lot of us, quite a lot of companies, certainly the government and everyone responsible, doesn't know much. You know, it started as a problem, what, 20, 25 years ago, not more. And certainly they don't know a lot. So, and that example of that is that for every 3 positions of cybersecurity professional, companies and government can find only 1 person, even less than 1. So it's one against 3. So simply there is not enough people who graduate to find a job. I mean, they offer sufficiently enough funds. We are the highest paid program at DePaul, at CDM, or the most highest paid program. And the funds are there, the benefits are there, the thrilling position is there. Simply there are no people to fill those positions, mostly because what I've explained, it's a problem that it's not easily understand with the lenses that current academic programs have done. And that's why we have programs that work with NSA and with Department of Homeland Security and with national labs like Oak Ridge, Pacific Northwest, MITRE, Sandia, Aragon, to actually make sure that we disseminate sufficient enough curriculum so people will get attracted to the program and don't get repelled by the complexity of it, because it can be repelling. Of course, you're pretty much trying to size up a black hole, which is kind of hard to do it, right? You're even inside, outside, right? It's kind of an inception paradox what it is, and many people get repelled out of it because it sounds spooky, but it's not at all. It's simply the way of the bringing understanding of and knowledge of many other fields helps a lot. And I'm really proud of our programs because we've tailored them to have produce professionals that can find a job. I mean, our placement in our programs is 97% of everyone who graduates in the first 6 months. So not accounting for people who go for another master's or a PhD or do something else. So I mean, it's a guaranteed that you'll get a job. It's a guaranteed that you'll work. It's a guarantee that you will, if you take a look 20 years from now back, that you will feel like a pioneer. You know, you will feel like, oh, your mom or dad started something that no one knew what's going on 20 years from now and look at where we are. It has some kind of fulfilling. It's rather more than a job. It's kind of a calling that's kind of nice to embark on.
That sounds really interesting as far as, well, the potential, obviously, within the field, and then potential within the jobs that you could get. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the examples of careers or companies that hire cybersecurity professionals and what those jobs are like?
So what students can get jobs in any aspect. So they can be software security analysts, they can be network security administrators, they can be researchers and developers, they can be risk analysts, they can be security testers, that can be security developers. So the good thing about this job is that they're not tied to a particular industry. So if you're a security analyst, you can work in a bank, or you can work in Boeing, or you can work in an insurance company, or you can work in, I don't know, food processing company, or you can work in CTA or any other, like a nuclear facility. It doesn't matter what the actual business of the company is. It's precisely what your skills are that they need in securing their product, their networks, their operations, what they do, their front ends. It's our students take jobs really everywhere, like from banks, insurance companies. I mean, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I think, employs like hundreds of our graduates. For example, Discover Cards, what usually happens, Discover Cards employs a lot of our students too. What usually happens with DePaul students is that once a student gets a job in a company, then they open it up, and then they kind of bring another student. It's like a snowballing effect, and the name perpetuates there, right? The more teams grow there, the more alumni can vouch for people who graduate from our program. Another thing is that like 60-70% of the students, of the undergraduate students, already have jobs when they are sophomore. They already get job offers, even if they are so early into their career, because companies realize that it's good for them to have an undergraduate to be onboarded in a company for a year or two, and then grow while they're learning and studying together with the operational environment of the company. So many, like 60% of the students already have jobs or year-long internships in companies.
How many cybersecurity students do we have at DePaul every year? Is it growing? Like, has it increased, or is it staying pretty much steady?
It constantly increases every year. We, I think we have around, on the graduate level, I think 180. And then we have around, I think, 260 on the undergraduate level. But the number grows every year. The number grows every year. And I think it grows with 3 or 4% every year. Our programs are big. I mean, our programs compared to other programs in the Midwest are, I won't be humble, but I think it's true that like our programs are really the best in the Midwest. Like, there are other schools, of course, they're good. I don't want to sound that I pride for ourselves, but like the thing is that in our programs we have many adjuncts that were our students, or that are security professionals in the field, and especially in Chicago, who teach classes in our programs. So students also learn from people who work in the industry. So students can always, it's a very good combination of professionals as adjuncts and academics as who work into this field that expose students to actual practical problems. Like our program is designed for students to develop practical skills mostly. Of course, it's we have many practical classes that they can take, from forensics to cyber physical system security to IoT security to social engineering to I teach class on how to detect Twitter and Facebook trolling for elections, for COVID, for stuff like that. So what we do, like from in professional terms, is brought into the program. What I do and other faculty doing research wise is immediately spilled over in the classroom. So students do work that it's actually relevant. We don't have textbooks that are published 10 years ago. So I don't have textbooks in my classes. So.
Yeah, that always was my favorite thing about DePaul when I was a student. The fact that you get to meet professionals who currently work in their fields and also teach, and you have real life knowledge that is being transferred to students on a daily basis. So it's great to hear that cybersecurity does that, which is because your guys' field is even more important than a lot of other fields, and to have that real life, real time knowledge, that's a great experience for students.
Yeah, so Dr. Sharevski, you talked about the quality of the program. So I see on the DePaul website that our cybersecurity program has been certified by the National Society of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity. So can you talk a little bit more about that, and how did you gain that certification?
So our program is the first among the, it's among the first 10 or 15, I think, universities and programs that were certified by NSA. So what the certification means, we are a Center of Academic Excellence. What that Center of Academic Excellence means is that NSA, as the national, NSA and DHS, of course, but mainly NSA as the national agency responsible for cybersecurity within the nation, not outwards, right? Not CIA. Is responsible not just about protection, but is also responsible about making sure that they will have people who will work into their not just into their ranks, but everyone else. You know, it's unlike military where you do physical protections, right? The military is doing their own recruiting and stuff and weapons development. And if you're not affiliated with military, then it's kind of strange if you pose as the one who will defend the United States from a foreign attack, right? It could happen, right? But it's not something that we expect to do. But in cybersecurity is different. Like the overall defense of the cyber sphere depends on how good are defending companies and institutions and governments and everyone, even though none of us is affiliated with the government directly. So NSA understands and realized early on that everyone needs to, I mean, they need people to understand how to do this, and that's why they created this certification to make sure that programs who graduate students have sufficiently enough knowledge and expertise that they can go and work elsewhere and provide an overall defense on a national level. Like, certainly it doesn't sound like a big brother government, but the idea of the program is a very, very noble, because it makes sure that whoever graduates on a given program can find a job in a structured way. So our program is, like NSA assess our programs, and we have to hit specific skills, tasks, and responsibilities that they can do. There is something called National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework which defines what workforce roles students can have and what tasks, what knowledge, and what abilities they need for those. So we feel every 2 or 3 years we fill a questionnaire where they assess our excellence in delivering those. And that means that once they're graduated, they can pick any job and the companies can immediately realize what roles and tasks a student can do. They don't have, like when they do an interview with a candidate, when they say that they're from a center of academic excellence like ours, then a company immediately knows, or a government agency immediately knows what roles and tasks and skills the candidate has. Like, they can do testing if they want, but they know that that the candidate comes fully formed into the workforce. And that also enables students and future professionals to switch jobs easily. So it's designed in a way to structure a career path that that certainly can help moving vertically or laterally as much as people want.
That sounds great. You mentioned internships before. How do students obtain internships if they wanted to work for a cybersecurity company of some sort while still in school?
So there are internship fairs that happen every year at DePaul. So companies come in and they offer internships. The Center for Academic Excellence, for example, because we are a member of that community, organizes virtual career fairs and internships every quarter. So people participate in those virtual career internships with all other, I don't know how many there are, 80 or 90 other Center of Academic Excellence in cybersecurity, and we can actually join those career fairs and get internships. Internships come as an information to us as faculty, and we disseminate to students. Students can join groups. We have a security demons, a cybersecurity group for students that competes and that disseminates knowledge outside of classroom, which is a nice place to be. And even if you don't show up for meetings, you can just subscribe to the mailing list, and we post, we post, everyone posts. Alumni also posts internships on that list. So word of mouth, like that's precisely how it happens like that. But is really not hard to get one.
Yeah, that sounds great. Having a job lined up before you even graduate, that is so useful for students starting their careers. Would you say that as far as attracting students to the field, is there specific types of students that you look for? Special students who for example, completed certain prerequisites, or in high school took some classes, or outside of high school took classes in any information technology fields, or is any student pretty much accepted into the program, or is there any testing or anything like that when students are interested in becoming cybersecurity majors?
So everyone can get into the programs. Like certainly having taken, I don't know, CSAP or something like that can help, or taking any engineering class can help. I don't know the acronyms of the classes generally, but that can help for sure, but it's not a decisive factor. Okay, everyone can get into the programs. Whatever they need to learn, they'll definitely learn in the college. That's why it's a higher education. So it can help, but it's not a deciding factor. It certainly is not a deciding factor, because the field itself allows for building a professional profile that it's not set in stone. Like it's not necessarily like you can be a security professional for industrial control systems, and your friend can be a security professional for banking software. and your job and their job, it's completely different in the practical parts that you do during day to day, but conceptually you know what you have to do. So it's everyone can come and enjoy. We've done a couple of competitions for CPS students who wanted to join and who wanted to test their skills from classes they have taken. So we've partnered with Lindblom Math Academy, with Theodore Roosevelt High School, and the Office of Computer Science of CPS to do these competitions. We are now in a process of bringing cybersecurity curriculum to CPS. So I don't know whether, like, we're now in the process of writing a funding proposal to bring curriculum, because I'm part of a national national initiative that develops cybersecurity curriculum for high school, which we already have it, and it's currently tested pilot. There's a test piloting in Maryland and in Oklahoma and in Texas and in Alabama and in New Hampshire. So I wanted to bring it to CPS, and so we're in a process to see how to try to get funding to do it, and to pilot test it with 2 or 3 schools in CPS, probably next year or the year after, and then bring it in a full implementation in as many schools as possible in the system. So the idea is whoever takes that class to be a dual credit for our programs. So to attract students that can take that class, they already will have replaced one class into our undergraduate programs. So like we really work with CPS to attract local talent into our program. But for now, anyone can join. It's
So you talked about the kind of earning potential for graduates coming out of cybersecurity, and that is one of the highest paid fields. So I know a lot of students and families and also counselors are going to be watching. So what is the range where we're talking about for graduates who are going to be graduating in cybersecurity? So entry level, what are students coming from DePaul making? And then what is kind of some of the top earnings you've heard about with their earning potential at different companies?
So when you graduate, I think the starting salary ranges between 55 and 65, or like up to $75,000, depending where you'll find the job. Living costs are really important for the offerings, and it is a high paid job. But high paid jobs, come with caveats, right? It can be someone who doesn't come from a structured program like ours could burn out easily. So we take good care to make sure that we scaffold enough knowledge and soft skills for our graduates to start from that pay level and then move on in a way that they can have a long-lasting career. So as I said, it can start north of 50 or 60, 65, and can go from up to 75, depending on the skills. Okay, and depending on the position. If it's a highly needed position and there is really shortage of anyone who can do it, then the salary can be negotiated higher, right? You have to prove yourself that you're good, and then from there on it goes up. How it develops over the year, I don't think that we have explicit numbers, but I haven't heard so far that anyone complained about the money after they graduate. In fact, I get many offers for people to take me out for a dinner or a drink or coffee or something.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. You know, graduating in your early 20s and having a decent career and a wonderful salary to start out your life. That's incredible.
I mean, most of the companies now come with many benefits. So work from home, of course, now, but that will be stay forever. Flexible hours. So you don't have
Yeah,
to.
but definitely more lucrative of a field than working in higher ed, for example, speaking from my experience.
We usually are invited as faculty in many companies in Chicago to kind of schmooze us to send students their way, which is nice. And like the offices that I've seen in West Loop and downtown, I mean, it's not nearly as fancy as our offices, but that's okay. Academics have to work; they don't have to relax. have to mold minds.
Right.
It's fancy. I mean,
shape the future.
Yeah, kitchens and food and PlayStation rooms and rooms for nap and like hoops for basketball or like ping pong tables and I don't know, very fancy style of desks and chairs and like a camaraderie going on, people chatting, boards, like wall-to-wall boards for drawing and making ideas, like massage therapies. It's fun.
Nice.
Maybe I should change fields now that I.
Yeah, I was just thinking, wait, is it too late?
Right.
Can I do a master's in cybersecurity? I feel like I could. Some of those classes sound really interesting, actually.
Maybe we should put a score of ping pong and PlayStation game for before our students get it. Yeah, definitely. It's a lucrative place to do. It's you work on something that it's new. You know, it's your parents, your grandparents, your neighbors and friends will be kind of puzzled what you do, but that's good. They're not going to talk much about it. And it's rewarding. You see things that it's hard to see in any other daily life, like the daily job. Like you see a lot of unpredictable things that helps you grow a thicker skin, you know. Like you see your network being under attack. Like you can panic, but the program itself, it's designed to minimize like flight and then maximize fight. So, and then over time creates a much resilient thinking of many things. It has a positive externalities in life. It has positive externalities in anything. Students like what we do. We always get not just superficial praise, but they always get praise for what they have learned into our programs. The program is designed also so in many aspects. The approach to going to a college is to get a job, okay, and then. But there are a couple of things that I want to bring to attention. The first thing is that the moment you get into a program and after 4 or 5 years when you graduate, you should expect that you will be a completely different person. So you should embrace a change of yourself personally when you move. And second, the program teaches you skills, teaches you adaptation, but also, and like very crucially important, is teaches you how. It is teaching you how you can learn after you graduate. So that's very important. We don't want our graduates to stop learning when they get the diploma. In fact, that's when they actually start to learn on their own pace as they move on. And that's a very important part of our program. So one thing is what you see as a curriculum on the website, but there's much more that we do in advising and in security clubs and in one-to-one within the courses, what we do into making sure that students pick up these soft skills together with the hard skills.
So Filippo, I have a question about the just overall diversity of the industry. As of course, you know, Sam, who's one of our students, who is a Black student coming from CPS. So what does the diversity outlook look like in the field itself when it comes to just overall racial demographics and also men versus women working in the field?
Being traditionally coming under computer science umbrella, we are not we, I'm not, it's not me, but the field itself is skewed towards male, predominantly male. And at the beginning was mostly white male, but now on the field itself, it's diversifying with a faster pace than other computer science related fields. So we at DePaul, we have, like, I'm very proud that our programs are the most, if not the most, if not the, I think in the top 3 or 4 the most diverse programs in the States. We have students from everywhere. We have students, our programs have much more, our programs are enroll students and graduate students with a breakdown of demographics that is, that it's hardly can match. Anyone can match. Any programs can match us. I can speak for myself. I've graduated, I think, as diverse set of students as they have. I have female. I always had female undergraduate. So right now I have 2 female undergraduate research assistants. One is Black, one is white. Her parents are Italian. So they are amazing. I mean, I personally, I'm an immigrant. I'm coming from a different country, so I have understanding of the concept of the importance, and our program doesn't like we support a lot of that. So I have 2 undergraduate, as I said, females. I have a Hispanic PhD student. I have a transgender PhD student. I have 2 candidates, 2 Black candidates, one female, one male, that are in advanced talks with me to do PhD with me. I've been a PhD advisor to international students too. I've been a master's advisor to everyone. I haven't turned back. So my rule for my lab that I do for research and for becoming an advisor for masters and for PhD is that, you know, I'm interested into the work to be done, and if students show enthusiasm to do it, and if they show enthusiasm to learn as they go, then they are welcome anytime for anything they do. I have people who want to work voluntarily, like due to limited funding, I cannot support everyone, but I have constantly requests from students to voluntarily work on some projects just to get exposed to research, for example, that can help, and they can put it onto their CV. This they have done, and they know how to do some interesting aspects of that. So we do that. As I said, I'm leading initiative now. We're writing. I mean, after this recording, I have meeting with CPS to continue writing that proposal, so we can distribute. We can create a dual credit course within the CPS that can actually bring local talent. So my goal, and DePaul, of course, is to have as much as possible local talent in our programs, instead of having you go to, I don't know, Indiana, Tennessee, Minnesota, Milwaukee, and I don't know, elsewhere. You know, as I said, we've done competitions for students. I've done programs with high schools in CPS. I know of the potential of what CPS can bring to the programs. And that's why we are committing. We've committed in the past, and now we're trying to commit even more with a large-scale funding from the National Science Foundation to make sure that we create an actual pathway for anyone from the CPS students to come to our programs.
Well, thank you. And final question I have, Dr. Sharevski, is what advice would you have for high school students now who are watching this video and saying they want to go into cybersecurity? What advice would you have for them and their parents as far as starting the process to become a cybersecurity professional?
What should I tell them? So should I tell to the students, or should I tell to the parents first?
Both. Both.
Both? Okay, all right. So I'll start with the parents, because they have to pick up the tab for at least money well spent. That's all I can tell. If I'm sending my kid now to school or to a program, not that I'm doing it, all right, but I'll send it to a cybersecurity program, no doubt. I have no doubt. Like it really is an investment that has a return beyond anyone's imagination. I know it's a lot of money. I know it's a lot of commitment. Although it won't be easy, right? It's a process that you live through it. So I don't want for anyone to have impression we are a Six Flag place where you come in. It's gonna be fun, but it's not gonna be fun much of the time. But that's good. Okay, our program is costly because, as I said, we make sure that students develop much more than just technical hard skills. Okay, you can go a cheaper route and get certification, but that doesn't teach you many of the aspects that are sufficiently enough, not just to succeed in a company, but to move further on as a career. Like the most important part that people gain in our programs is the ability to be self-sufficient for their life. So money well spent, I would definitely say. We differ from big state universities, and I'm honest, because first, our classrooms are small, which means that we devote attention to each student considerably, rather than having them in a giant auditorium and then not having taken care of. So we purposefully have smaller classrooms and sections where we work with each one of them. Students are assigned to faculty as their faculty advisors to not to guide them, but to help them build a career path and support whatever they need into those things. So small adjustments like that help their career along a long way. So that's one of it. I have parents who've approached me. In as much as regulation allows us to talk about it. When we were doing the program with your department a couple of years ago, Sam's parents approached me and we had a very nice conversation. And I told them the very same thing. Like, it's right here, right now is the best bang for the buck that you can get. Like, and for the students, I think that if you really want to, like, if I don't know what kind of images everyone has for themselves, I certainly sound scary. As I said, I have a thick Slavic accent. You will read many stuff that are kind of counterintuitive to whatever other professions are. But if you really feel that you want to achieve something that it's really special in your life, then certainly come to this. Like, if we have, for example, DePaul is also a member of a national initiative called Women in Cybersecurity, which helps promotes finds jobs for women into predominantly, I mean, still predominantly, if not predominantly, but dominantly male field. So we are a member of that community too. We work with governments and through NSA and through DHS to assure that our programs are diverse enough and that diversifies the workforce. So it's not the opportunities there are not like what we create and what the field, it's like what we bring into the field. It's not superficial as just a statement, you know. We don't state that we are diverse and then move on with the day. No, we actually make sure that whoever comes into our program, especially people who historically have never had a chance to succeed in a field like this, to make sure that that's a case. That's a case. I mean, you can ask any of the students that graduated, or my graduate assistants, or my PhD students, that they will tell you that we try as hard as we can to make sure to provide opportunities. We cannot guarantee anything, but that's the beauty of it, because opportunities arise along the way. I cannot tell you what we will have in 3 years from now, but I can tell you that for sure there will be something 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now, 6 months from now, things like that. There are many scholarships that students can get. There are many. So there's a lot of support that they can get. It's worth every penny, and it's worth every minute and second of the time. And it's not going to be easy, but our program is here to make you succeed, and success comes at price. So if you want to do it, you have to do it right. Okay, and then we make sure that you definitely do it right.
Well, great. Well, Dr. Filipo Sharevski, we want to thank you very much for the time that you have the opportunity and the knowledge you've been able to share with our students. I want to thank everyone who's watching this video, and the students and families who are watching, and understand the great opportunity that comes out of our CDM, our College of CDM, and our cybersecurity department. So thank you very much, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.